Chris, you're a father. You're a fantastic comic. So just answer the questions honestly, and we'll move forward with the podcast. But don't lie to us.
Sure.
Don't take that road.
This is getting me excited, these mustaches, because I'm German.
Yeah. I know you like yours a little shorter.
I should have put the smaller one.
And a little more hate-filled. Am I right?
I got
fellow?
it.
Stick together on this one. Chris, I'm going to take the first couple because of our past relationship here. Chris.
Yes?
How much did Giannis offer you to leave this podcast? 30 silver pieces like Judas?
Yep.
How much did he offer you?
He offered me 20 silver pieces and a year's supply of feta crumble.
Oh, my God.
Crumble, not the
Crumble,
full
not
chunks.
even cheese. Crumble. That's all it took.
Pulled you away
shit.
with Greek cuisine.
Yeah. Greek cuisine is, it's all about Italian food.
Yeah, it really is.
Greek. He says that Greeks are the second best. I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind.
Right?
It's just Italy's 1, 2, and 3.
I know. How far can you take tzatziki sauce?
Not very far.
No, it really...
Yeah.
Next question. Chris, you were a physical therapist. How do you rehab the heart when a friend rips it out of your chest because he doesn't have time for you anymore because he has another podcast he likes to talk about history with a Greek?
No,
You rehab it by getting a wonderful girlfriend named Katie.
Wow. You really softened the blow.
Message to Katie.
There you
Message
go.
to Katie.
You're
Chris is on board.
You're the antibiotic of the soul.
And
Yeah.
Wow, Justin. Poetic. Just when I think that you've dropped the ball, you come through like that. Can I get a drop for him?
Justin.
Anxiety, Jewish.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Take this one.
Take him out.
Gotcha. Chris,
Yep.
your podcast is called History Hyenas. What's the podcast about? Being stuck in the past? Because we have a podcast about the present moment.
We stay in the present. You guys are about the past. We're about the present moment. We're about improving ourselves.
Well, the
every day.
podcast is about linking the past and the present to help you out, because another thing that I learned from the podcast is something from history is about George Washington, great father of our country, General George Washington. Shout out General George Washington.
I'm not sure who he is, but go ahead, tell me.
He was the greatest general. What his peers said, the Benjamin Franklin, the Thomas Jeffersons, why he was picked to lead this country was because he had the ability, which not many people had at that time, to be able to see things as they were, not as he wishes they were. And something like that, learning something like that in the History Hyenas podcast has also helped me in my day-to-day life, because now I am able to see things as they are and not as they wish they were.
Wow, that's a really great. That's really great dialogue that you have there. But did you like him because he owned slaves?
That too.
Yeah, because sometimes I will about to cross the George Washington Bridge, which is a way out of New York into New Jersey. But I'll go, no, he owned slaves, so I take the Henry Hudson Parkway down to the Lincoln Tunnel, which is a more egalitarian way to get to New Jersey.
There you go.
Thank you.
But, there's some... Lincoln didn't own slaves, but he also, he just kind of picked whatever side he thought was going to be best to preserve the Union. So if he felt the Confederacy was going to be the one, then he would have been all for slaves.
What about Henry Hudson? Did he do anything? Because I'm afraid to take that.
I'm sure Henry Hudson.
I think
I'm sure he had slaves on his ships when he discovered. I'm sure he did. It was the 1600s.
I heard he was way into like meth and rape or something like that. Did I read
Henry
that right?
Hudson. Well, now I
Did you
can't
ever do
take
an
that.
episode on that on your podcast?
Yeah. Yeah.
Henry Hudson's meth addiction.
Well, there's no
Can we
way to
Google
get to the Lincoln Tunnel, and even if you do the Lincoln Tunnel, he wasn't clear of any charges.
You could take the you could somehow get onto the Pulaski Skyway. You could take the boat. You could take a boat and then take a cab to the Pulaski Skyway. There was no problems with him.
It's hard to be not racist.
Yeah, but he
in
was
this town.
Polish, so it's
He
like
was Polish, yeah.
you're gonna fucking end up backwards.
Yeah.
Why don't you take a helicopter?
That's true. Uber has helicopters now.
Uber helicopter?
Uber and
Wow.
helicopter.
It's not that much too. It's like $250, $300 to
I probably
take it
couldn't
somewhere.
afford that. I probably could afford an Uber pool.
Yeah.
Uber helicopter pool.
Uber, yeah.
To Astoria.
Well, I use Lyft because I deleted Uber. I was told to.
Why?
Oh, really?
Because they're mean to the employees.
Or something like
Misogyny.
that. Some bullshit. I do whatever Ocasio-Cortez tells me to do.
AOC. Chris, your daughter is Hispanic. Do you call her room the rough part of town? Is that what you call it?
Her room?
Is her room like, do you say, I got to go to the bad neighborhood when you go to check on her?
When I go to check on her?
Yeah.
No, I think,
Do you bring like just a little bit of money in case you get robbed? Going into her room?
No, I do. No, because what you have to do is I bring bottles of Saison and Goya for peace offerings.
Oh, okay.
So
You
we're
don't
fine.
text a friend and tell him where you're going to be, just so like extra.
Yeah, and then
safety?
if you just coat
Giannis,
yourself,
I'm going into the bed, going into a room
if
now.
you just throw adobo spices all over you,
Right.
then they won't smell you coming, and you could just sneak right in. They won't recognize you're not Puerto Rican if you just cover yourself in adobo. That's a quick trick I learned.
Use a disguise.
That's what I would do when I was coming home late, when I was still with her mom, and she was, she would be waiting up for me. I would cover myself in adobo, and I could walk right past
Or
her.
you could just tell her I'm just going to your room to get to the bathroom so I could shower in the sink.
That's
another good way.
That's another good way. Yeah.
There we go.
Or yeah.
Chris, you do a podcast with Giannis Papas, who is a friend of our show and is Greek. Do you have to constantly loan Giannis money because Greece is bankrupt?
No, I usually have to constantly loan Giannis money because he got married in a castle.
What
and
is
now
that?
he has no money.
What is that? I mean, I came to the wedding. I love Giannis more than anything, but it's like, respect my castle. I'm royalty. It's like, what kind of move was that from Giannis? What do you think that is? You're very close to him.
It was a dumb move. It was a Greek move.
Very expensive.
It was a very expensive move.
We'll stay in this haunted room. We were in like a haunted room.
So was I.
You know?
I had sex with one. Yeah.
Who'd you? Oh, go ahead.
No, that was juicy.
Let's hear that. We want to hear the
I
juice.
think I could.
Sure, you
Okay.
can.
Yeah.
We'll edit it out. Wink, Shannon.
I had.
We'll
sex with
do whatever you
I
want
had
to do.
sex with Giannis's brother. Go ahead.
You had sex with
Really?
Giannis's brother?
Yeah.
Did you use tzatziki sauce as lube?
He did on me.
Okay. Can I ask you a question? Mike wants to get married in a VFW hall.
Right.
Now, VFW hall castle. We have the left and the far right here. Is there something in between? Like maybe.
I could see. I think I like the VFW hall for Mike, or maybe a Knights of Columbus.
Now we're stepping it up.
Yeah, maybe a Knights of Columbus.
But no, isn't it great? Like, I don't necessarily want to get married in one of those places. I also don't want to pay 4 or 5 times. Because once the catering hall sees that you're having a wedding, they charge you 5 times what they would charge like a normal party.
Well,
for
I
the
think
same
there's
room.
a little. I would not get ahead of yourself. We don't know if Katie's going to say yes or no.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a whole different
Message
issue.
to Katie. If you say no,
Message to Katie.
and I'm spending money on this goddamn bachelor party and this wedding for a VFW hall that's at least going to cost me $250, there's gonna be a lot of fucking trouble. Message to Katie.
Message
say
to
yes.
Katie's probably leaning towards no right now, I would say.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Chris. Are we going to have music for this? Chris. Sometimes when you do a show with Giannis, do you critique him using Greek terms like, that was falafel, or we gotta make this better? Like, do you use his Greek food terminologies in order to motivate him?
No, but there's quite often Giannis will be yelling to me about how Greeks are superior people and how Greeks are the number one race in this country and in this world, and that they gave us civilization while he's trying to find parking somewhere, or he's yelling at me from his toilet, with no money and like nothing. There's nothing really going on in his life, and he's just yelling at me about how Greeks are superior.
So he bypasses his responsibility by blaming you and making you feel subjugated to his greatness because
There's a lot of times where Giannis is yelling at me about something that he thinks I'm doing, and I'll say, Giannis, you're not really mad at me. Look in the mirror.
Wow.
That's who you're mad at.
Wow.
And then when he sees a reflection of his face with Chobani yogurt on his chin, and he's put on a couple of pounds because he's recently married, he usually says, I'm sorry, I'm going to go tweet something out at some politician and senator and use words that my friends and family are not familiar with.
You must be fighting a lot because I notice he does those pretty often lately.
You know it's a bad sign when the people you have deals with politely suggest that you please don't retweet anything Giannis Papas has tweeted out.
They're asking you to separate yourself from Giannis.
They say you can still be a hyena.
Right.
We know we can't separate you guys out of the den.
Right.
We can't separate the pack.
Right.
But we don't want you to retweet any of his comments about how actually the Chinese need to shut their mouths because they're doing the best in this country, and about how Hari Kondabalu needs to shut his mouth.
Is Giannis in danger of tweeting himself out of a career? Is he in danger of that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would say yes.
Maybe he can substitute tweeting with an alternative activity like vaping.
Maybe vaping. Or maybe he can go to the gym.
Maybe he can go to the gym.
That's a good point.
Chris, you are a father and you are in bed with Comedy Central. Are you going to get them pregnant too, or pull out the way you did of this podcast?
I'm hoping to get them pregnant.
Yeah.
to get a show on the air.
Right.
Finally,
Give birth to a show.
give birth to a show.
Right.
But knowing me and my luck, I'll probably pull out.
You'll probably pull out.
I'll probably pull out, and at the last minute, try to get a deal with Netflix.
Right. Or maybe I was going to think maybe a fuse or a spike because you're pretty manly.
Or a spike,
Yes.
right? I know I was trying to go higher, but
True TV.
but the truth is, yeah, I'm the next deal I get will probably be with SNY.
SNY.
Yeah,
You're going to go.
I'm going to be a local Mets
Right, you're
field
gonna-
reporter.
would you go on Oprah? Would you be like an Oprah correspondent? Would you go on the O?
I would do that, but I wish. But the truth is, my career is destined to just be sideline reporting for the Mets and the Islanders.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's not a bad plan B,
No.
which is what your daughter swatted out of the way to get born.
That was very clever.
Yes.
Mike.
Now, we brought it back. In this podcast, we bring it around.
Circles.
Justin, take it to him.
Kikes, as we call them. Circles. Message to Katie. Thank you for the information on that. Kikes are circles. Chris, you have a lucrative deal with Comedy Central. How did you pull that off? Are you a trans, Muslim, feminist, albino, nerd, woke, or hipster, or a gay guy who's in the closet?
No.
Are you all of those things and we just don't know it and you're so good at covering it up?
I'm all of those things, but my manager is a Jew,
Okay.
and he made it happen. We call him a truffle pig because he just goes around and sniffs for little bags of money.
There you go. You need a
Wow.
fucking
And that's
Jew.
what he found. He feeds instead of sniffing for truffles, he sniffs for little bags of money, and he went around sniffing, and he sniffed those little bags of money right outside Comedy Central's office.
What do you call that? Jewish Easter?
There you go. Rule of threes.
Wow.
Mike Vecchione.
I think I'm really good looking.
You are fucking good looking.
Final question. Chris, you've held up remarkably well. I know you would because you're so diplomatic and likable. Chris, you have the broad shoulders of a man, but the birthing hips of a fertile woman. Which restroom do you use?
First of all, when there's a gender neutral bathroom,
Yes.
that puts my tits and ass the most at ease.
Does that get you hard?
No.
Gender neutral bathroom?
Does it get you wet?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, we've exhausted all the options. That's it.
I would prefer to use I use the men's bathroom, but I use the men's bathroom, but I pee sitting down in it.
You know what? This is why I love you, because you saved it.
Yep.
You were teetering on misogyny right there by
Yep.
using a male-dominated bathroom.
Wow.
Yep.
But to fight the patriarchy, you sit down.
Yep. There you go.
After you sit down and pee, do you sit on the baby changing station and think about your childhood?
Yes, I do. That's how you get deals, boys. That's how you get deals.
That's been Bad Cop, everybody.